Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Quantum Experience. I'm thrilled today to be joined by Ekaterina Polyakova. Ekaterina is the CEO of G2Q Computing. Ekaterina, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks a lot for inviting. Hi, everyone.
Cool. So let's go straight into it. So we usually like to start with a brief introduction. So tell us who you are and tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay. Well, before starting this journey, I worked actually as a quantitative expert in the banking industry for quite a bit of time, 15 years, where I focused on complex financial modeling. But my roots are in science. So growing up, I was always drawn to physics. I even won the Physics Olympiad as a student, and was constantly inspired by my father's research, who was a researcher in aerospace and physics, had PhD in physics. So that's how the curiosity never left me, and this is how, when I found quantum computing industry, I said that this is something really exciting, and I would like to follow it.
Cool. So I guess this journey has brought you on to G2Q Computing. So tell us a little bit about the company and what you're up to.
Sure. So at G2Q Computing, we're building hybrid quantum classical software for solving optimization and machine learning problems. And these are the kinds of problems that push limits of traditional computing. And we work mostly in sectors like finance, engineering, aerospace, and life sciences. And as CEO, I lead the strategic vision and ensure that the technology is also grounded in solving real-world challenges. That's what we do. And actually, we started the company while working in finance in a bank, analyzing some inefficiencies in current processes. This is how we started to tackle some of the financial models and came up with the idea of constructing the company.
Cool. So did you identify a gap in the market while you were working in the market? Is that how it happened?
In fact, yes. So my journey is a bit different maybe from other quantum computing companies, because it came from the problem identification phase rather than studying physics and coming up with some cool theory to get applied. It came mostly from the problem, and then trying to fix some models, and then this is how we started trying to understand more models, and this is how then we finished up building up the company.
Cool. That sounds exciting. That's sort of part of the reason that I was really keen to speak to you, because before I came to know you, it was I could see that your journey was maybe slightly different to the normal out there. So I thought that was an important story to hear for those that are considering their options. So I'd like to rewind a little bit. So could you maybe tell us about your first exposure to quantum mechanics or quantum technologies?
Well, the first exposure that I got to quantum physics was when I was a teenager. So my house was always full of different textbooks. So I was trying also to follow my father's research, and he's working in the lab. So this is how I started already to learn some first concepts. But definitely the real turning point came when I was already working in finance, and when I encountered quantum computing. Actually, it came a very interesting story, because definitely there were some issues in modeling and finance, but the turning point came when I had an investment opportunity. So the investment opportunity was to invest in one quantum computing company, very famous one, which really became big and huge, and I'm really happy for them. But those were the times, maybe 7-8 years ago, where they were just starting the journey, and I was following a lot investments, and I had a call with them where they introduced me to what they were building, the circuits, how the things were moving, and it was interesting. And after the call, I said, okay, maybe it's a nice way to get involved in this quantum computing journey, and definitely this is the topic for the next decades. But then I thought, why to invest in someone else's journey? Let's build my journey. And it was also a turning point in my personal life where I decided that maybe working in a bank is a bit limited for myself. So I decided to build up my own company.
Oh, great. That's a cool story. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Thanks.
Next question that I have is one of the most popular ones, and it's the one that we get messages about the most. So obviously starting G2Q, that there may have been some hurdles that you maybe weren't expecting or whatever, but are there any mistakes that you have made during your career that was a pretty big learning experience for you?
Oh, yes, definitely. I keep doing mistakes every day, I think. But
Yeah.
I think that the biggest mistake on was staying too long in rigid environments, where actually innovation was slowed down and new ideas were not taken into consideration. So this is like the biggest mistake in my life, and I paid quite a lot on that, 15 years. Definitely, I have got great experience, but this has taught me also an importance of staying close to experimentation, close to people who want to innovate, who are open, who are inspired, who want to risk and change. Because I mean, quantum computing industry is still an emerging technology. Definitely, people who concentrate on it, they risk. They risk the company. It's a different mindset. So definitely, this is something that I'm trying to apply every day in our company. Oh yeah, and definitely then there are business mistakes we have been doing in the company. Also development mistakes, that's for sure. But those ones you encounter, you try to fix them, you try to overcome them, then things come better. Maybe the worst mistake is the one that I mentioned in the beginning, where you have to be really careful in choosing your path, your career path.
Okay, I feel like I have several follow-up questions to that, so I'll I'll try and keep it to one or two maybe. But that's an interesting mindset, and actually the last call that I had, we sort of touched upon this slightly. So obviously, as CEO, that you have certain goals for the company, but you also want to make sure that your employees don't feel like they're in a rigid environment, I guess, much as what you've just mentioned. So is that a culture that you're trying to create to give them freedom to innovate, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why sometimes when we participate in different programs, we are a bit attacked because sometimes we do not concentrate straightforward to one topic and just drill down to it, even though we do it on some topics. But sometimes we give maybe too much freedom to our employees and to I don't even like to call them employees, to my team, because sometimes when you follow the passion, and I know how researchers think, so if they don't like the topic, they will never come up with a good result or with a discovery or some interesting topic. Sometimes you just have to leave them alone, have to follow their passion, and I have seen that. Some team members have changed the topic of research, which was initially thought of, and then they came up with really nice and interesting results, which we can even patent. So you have to give some freedom.
Yeah, that's great. I like that.